So, if you're tuned into the business world at all, or even just investing, you've probably seen these three letters pop up everywhere: E, S, and G. It's one of those acronyms that can feel a little murky, a bit intimidating. Well, today, we're going to crack that code together.
You see it everywhere, right? In the news, in company reports, and big investor meetings. But for how often we hear it, what on earth does ESG actually mean? We're going to cut through all that noise and get right to the heart of it, and more importantly, why it matters so much right now. So, here's our game plan. First, we are going to nail down exactly what ESG is. Then we'll dive deep into each of its three pillars. That's the environmental, the social, and the governance. And to wrap it all up, we'll connect the dots and see why this whole framework is literally reshaping the future of business. Okay, let's dive right in. At its core, ESG is a way of looking at a company that goes way beyond the typical profit and loss statement. It's about understanding if a business is operating in a way that's sustainable and frankly ethical for the long run.
So ESG stands for environmental, social, and governance. Now, a really great way to think about it is like a company's impact report card. It uses a specific set of standards to measure how that company is doing in three really critical areas: how it takes care of the planet, how it treats people, and how it's actually run from the inside. It's a super powerful way to see the full picture, beyond just the money.
All right, let's kick things off with that first letter, E. And E is for environmental. This one is all about a company's relationship with our planet. The E in ESG really just zeroes in on one fundamental question. What kind of relationship does a company have with the natural world? It makes us look at their entire footprint, from the resources they use to the waste they create, and just ask, are they a force for good for the environment, or not so much? And this really boils down to two main goals. First, are they using resources efficiently? How smart are they with their energy and water? And second, how hard are they working to reduce their negative impact? We're talking about things like managing waste better, cutting pollution, and lowering those carbon emissions. Okay, so that's the E. Now let's move on to the S in ESG. This is the social pillar, and this is where our focus shifts from the planet to people.
The S is all about how a business manages its relationships. And I don't just mean with its own employees. We're talking about suppliers, customers, and the communities where it operates. You could almost think of it as the company's human footprint.
So, what does that look like in the real world? Well, it means looking at a few key things. Are they actually championing diversity and inclusion inside their own walls? Are they making sure labor practices are fair, not just for their own people, but all the way down their supply chain? And finally, are they actually getting involved with their local community in a positive, meaningful way? And that brings us to the final piece of the puzzle, G for governance. So if E is the planet and S is the people, G is all about the process. Think of it as the company's internal rule book. Yeah, governance is that internal rule book. It's the whole framework of rules and processes that directs how a company is led and managed. It gets right to the heart of how a business is run, asking questions like, is the leadership ethical? Are they being transparent with everyone involved? It's really the foundation that makes sure the E and the S pillars are built on solid ground. Good governance really comes down to three things: having ethical leaders who make sound decisions, practicing real corporate transparency so everyone knows what's actually going on, and of course, strictly following the laws and regulations. If I had to sum it up in one word, it would be accountability.
So, here it is, all together in one spot. You've got environmental, focused on the company's impact on the planet. You have social, all about its relationship with people and communities, and governance, which covers how the company is run internally. These three pillars together give us that complete 360-degree view of a business today.
Okay, so we've broken down the E, the S, and the G. But the big question is, why does any of this matter? Why is this framework suddenly so important? Let's zoom out and take a look at the big picture.
Honestly, this quote just nails it. ESG is no longer some niche thing for a small group of people. It's become a cornerstone of modern business strategy. Companies are finally realizing that strong ESG performance isn't just about doing good, it's about smart business. It helps manage risk, attract the best talent, and build a more resilient company for the long haul.
So this all leaves us with a huge question for the future. We are seeing a fundamental shift. Investors, employees, customers, pretty much everyone is demanding more accountability and a more positive impact from the companies they deal with. And this ESG framework is right at the center of that whole shift.
How it continues to evolve and shape our economy? Well, that is the big story to watch. Thanks for cracking the code with us today.